Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Librarians of Solana podcast. My name is T, and I am one of the librarians here in Solana in the world of Wraith. I found this strange character looming around the tavern here in Solana, and he wanted to take a trip to the library. So, without further ado, here is Rick from BCW. How are you doing, Rick?
T, thank you so much. I'm doing wonderful, and thank you for allowing me into the library. This is a dream come true. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to have you on. Rick and I go way back with Magic through the SCG Tour and Grand Prix, and now all the way into Flesh and Blood. Ran into each other at a bunch of callings and nationals, and it's been a great experience.
It really has.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some new news for you as of this past week. We finally have the announcement for the Pro Tour. It went live on February 1st. And the Pro Tour is for the dates of May 13th through 15th, 2022. And it's going to be in New Jersey, not too far from me. How far is New Jersey from you?
Quite a ways away. I'm in Indiana, so probably about 12-hour car ride or 2-hour flight.
Sounds like a flight to me.
Yes.
The Pro Tour is going to be classic constructed format, of course, featuring the new Everfest stuff. And then there's also a calling alongside it. That's also classic constructed. That calling is going to feature the last Gold Cold Tunic in the history of Flesh and Blood. So it's the revamped $20,000 prize pool and the last Gold Cold Tunic. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm super excited. I'm going to try and qualify through either a PTI from a Battle Hardened event or any of the callings leading up to Pro Tour in May. If I fall short and I miss it, I'll definitely be at the calling. And I've kept this off social media, just so you know. I have not made the announcement that I'm going to the Pro Tour #1, but I'm doing it here on your show.
Ooh.
I will be at Pro Tour #1, whether I'm playing in the Pro Tour or playing in the calling or the Battle Hardened event. That's up to the fates at this point in time, and how lucky I can or cannot be. So
You heard it here first, folks. Rick's going to the Pro Tour. Ooh.
Yep, going.
Are you playing in any of the pro quests leading up to it to try to snag an invite that way?
I have 3 that I've scheduled that I'm planning on playing in. I've got some starting next week. So we have SCG Con Philly this weekend, and then the following weekend kicks off the Pro Quests. And I have 3 of them that are drivable in my area that I plan on attending, maybe 4, to try and get my PTI for Pro Tour #1.
Sweet. That sounds like a plan to me. I've got 8 pro quests in this area that are a 4-hour drive or less. So we are going every Saturday, every Sunday for 4 weekends in a row, just to get some of those gold colds. You know, like the Pro Tour invite's nice, but I'm sure that if I play in that many events, I'm probably going to qualify on XP anyways.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Road to Nationals, I think I did 3, maybe 4. You went ham and traveled everywhere for Road to Nationals.
I played a lot of Road to Nationals. You know, it was a fun time.
You got a lot of tunics for somebody who just started. I'm just saying.
Getting into that, you learned how to play the game and then won a Road to Nationals, right?
No, I learned how to play the game at a Road to Nationals.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me a little bit about how you started playing. Tell me the story of that Road to Nationals where you learned.
All right, so real quick, if I may, I want to give a little backstory. In December 2019, I was at PAX Unplugged. I work in the gaming industry, although I'm on the hobby supply side of things. I have a lot of connections inside the gaming industry. One of my friends who happens to be a purchaser for a national distributor told me about this game that was coming out of New Zealand called Flesh and Blood, and said it was better than Magic. And at that point in time, I was managing Team BCW. We were getting ready to launch the new squad for 2020. I was knee deep, neck deep. I was buried in Magic the Gathering 24/7. I was attending 24 SCG tour events, typically a year, and managing local store appearances for the Team BCW. And I forgot going into 2020 what my buddy had told me about this game. And I go to an expo called the Gamma Expo. It's a inside the industry type of convention for retailers and manufacturers and publishers. And the pandemic hits, and I'm out in Reno, Nevada, hoping I can get home and trying to figure out what I'm going to do because my job was an event manager for BCW. I managed the team, I managed small events and large conventions. And I just started learning videography, photography, and started working on some product images and videos for BCW's website. And I learned how to do that, but I wanted to kind of delve in more, and it clicked in in May of 2021. Oh yeah, that game Flesh and Blood. I'm seeing it everywhere. People are talking about Monarch, and I called my buddy up who works for a distributor and said, "Hey, what do you think of this game? We love that game. It's popular. It's crazy popular. You should have listened to me in December." In hindsight, I should have listened to him in December of 2019. I would be a lot happier
Yeah,
financially, I think.
lot more alpha stuff running around, huh?
Yeah, like when somebody goes, "Hey, you should check this out," you should probably not blow it off. So I get a couple boxes. I open my first box ever on camera, doing the first video unboxing, my second Flesh and Blood, getting into Flesh and Blood video I put on YouTube. And I was doing that to really get comfortable in front of the camera, learn how to do some more video editing techniques. I was really doing it, one, to give myself a reason to explore a new card game. I had gotten out of Magic at the beginning of 2020 when the pandemic hit. Not gotten out, I just hadn't played any. And I was fine with it. And all of a sudden, this game came along, and I opened up my first box. And you can go back and watch that video. It's on YouTube. I pull a heart.
Whew,
I
clean.
didn't even know it was the Fable because it didn't have the icon at the bottom of it like all the other cards. I didn't know what rarity level it was. I was like, what? I don't, maybe even in the video, this might be the Fable. I'm not sure. And I come back for the conclusion of that video, just shaking, going, we opened the Fable. The next day, I open up a box of Arcane Rising and I pull I.
You have some insane luck with the sealed product, because even at the callings, you would like chain open cases and just be like, "Here's a random legendary and a Command and Conquer. Can I have another case?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Here you go." How many cases did you chain at one time, like at one calling?
Three and a half cases of Arcane Rising, calling Dallas. I ended up opening 3 skull caps, a Stormstrider, a Teklo Foundry Heart, 2.5 or 1.5 play sets of Command and Conquer. And
Insane.
I ended up completing my entire Flesh and Blood collection, as well as leaving with some money in my pocket. So,
Insane.
but I did all that, and I really started getting into the game. I started watching all the videos that I could find. A lot of wonderful content creators were putting up deck techs and how to play videos and strategy videos. And I wanted to play Dorinthia and Blitz. But at the time, this is before I had a crazy pull in the calling. Dorinthia was like $1,650, I think $1,650 to build from scratch just for Blitz because of all the crew cards, and Crew Unlimited hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in this point of like, well, I can't play Dorinthia. So what else do I want to play? And I saw Bravo, and I was like, I like Bravo. I built Bravo Blitz, took it to 2 events, local armory events with about 9 players. Most of them are casual level players, but still were wonderful to me, taught me how to play the game. I really started to fall in love with the community at that point. And the first event I go to, I 3-0. The second event, I 2-1. And I'm like, I like Bravo. At that time, the Road to Nationals were announced. I decided I'm going to go play in the 3 of them. They were close to drive 2. I'll use the first one as a learning curve, and I was going to play Bravo. At the same time, I bought all the singles for Bravo. Because of the Arcane Rising that I'd opened, and the first legendary I hit was a Tekla Foundry Heart, I decided I would play Dash. And I built Dash, and then 2 days before that, Matt Rogers' list and deck tech video went up, and I saw that it was like 7 or 8 cards off of his list. And I decided to make all the changes but two, which was I wanted to keep two extra copies of Pour the Mold Blue in the deck just because I knew there were going to be Bolton players at the first Road to Nationals I went to because I knew them locally. I knew they played Bolton, and I wanted more non-attack actions to block with, which I did actually face a Bolton at that event, and I did win that matchup. So I go to the first one. I've never played Class Constructed at all, and lo and behold, I end up going 4-1, making it into the top 8. And in the top 8, I went out and I got a Road to National win.
Took it
I,
home.
yeah, and I went with that one as a throwaway to learn how to play Class Constructed by playing against competitive people.
Well, it turned out not to be a throwaway. You got a nice
No.
nice little Road to Nationals win, picking up that invite to Nationals, and then nice tunic to go with it too.
Yep.
What is your
And
favorite part about Flesh and Blood? Does that weekend or that experience have like a lasting memory that you think you'll keep, even if Flesh and Blood dies out? Do you think that memory will be serving to you going forward?
I think that memory of that event, but not because I won, but because of the people I played against. And I know it sounds sappy, and I know I say it a lot in the videos I do, as well as on social media. But honestly, this community for Flesh and Blood is unlike any other community I've ever seen in any competitive card game I've played. And I've played a lot. Um, I have played card games that you've probably never heard of. And
Probably.
I'm old, is what I'm saying.
That's
So
not. Hang on. Wait a minute. Back it up. That's not what I meant.
I know it's not what you meant. I'm just saying I am, and I've been playing card games for a long time. I love uh, the rush I get of playing card games. I like learning new strategies. I like learning new mechanics, and this game has everything. But I love the mechanic side of it. I love the resource side of it. I love the lowered intentional lowered variance in the game that is by design. And I think honestly, the community is the most important thing that I love. And that's just because as somebody who started making content as they were getting into the game, I was welcomed, accepted, and appreciated. When I went to my first Road to Nationals and I had never played in an event before, I'd never played a game of Class Constructed before. I had people checking on me, making sure I was okay because I was shaking because I was so nervous. I had people telling me that I was doing a good job. I had people coaching me after the game, of course, not during the game. One of the people that I lost to, or the person I lost to, was gracious enough to tell me what I did wrong. And it actually came up in the semifinals. I played against the similar deck. It was against Chain. And because of that person taking the time to tell me what I did wrong, I did it right in that game, which put me through to the next round. So, yeah, the community is phenomenal, whether it's on social media, on YouTube, in person at a Calling Vegas was a prime example. My back went out day one, and I had so many people reaching out, making sure I was okay. I had people offering to walk me back to my hotel, asking if they could get me anything. The community is just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Heck yeah, that's what we love to hear. With a new game like this, especially something like Flesh and Blood, where it's just taking over and all these big stores are picking it up, like Star City Games and Channel Fireball. It's nice to know that the game is supported by big companies, so it's going to stick around, and that means that we're going to have a lot more of this this building from the community, and it's going to feel really cool when we see this game that we love to play thrive even more, and we get to experience more of that in the community by seeing new people at new events and getting those moments. So I'm a big fan.
Absolutely.
Is there anything about Flesh and Blood that you would change?
Honestly, there's only one thing that I would change. And I know I'm echoing something that other people have said, but I really do not like the first edition with a gap into the unlimited edition. Uh, if I had the power to change it, seeing how card games have gone in the past, whether it's been Yu-Gi-Oh doing first edition print runs or Pokemon back when it was with the WotC company doing first edition print runs, I would hope to get them to change it to be something where both editions come out at the same time. One is geared to the collectors that have the cold foils, extended arts, the oohs and ahs, the bells and whistles, the very limited cards, and unlimited would also come out at the same time, where people that just want the cards to play in competitive events would have that opportunity and access to those cards without having to pay the higher secondary market price for either A, the cards, or B, the individual sealed product.
Sure.
But
We definitely want people to be able to play the game. And that's a problem whenever you have this restriction of monetary concern. Like, for example, at the callings and nationals, where everything was just done on first edition and unlimited didn't happen until after nationals. So all these people
Right.
that were wanting to play in like the pro quests and stuff just had to be shelling out the big bucks for these cold foil legendaries if they wanted to be playing these new heroes.
Right.
I know that we both listened to the interview that Flake did with James White, and in that interview, James White mentions that they are looking around June to kind of restructure Flesh and Blood as what it is now into something different, especially focusing on that first edition and unlimited. The first thought that came to mind is that they might do a restructure that features something like comic books, where you can buy like a case of unlimited as a store, and then you get then you have the opportunity after buying a case to buy like a box of first edition. So if you buy 4 cases of unlimited, a store would be able to buy a full case of first edition. What are your thoughts on something like that going forward? Do you think that would be a good restructure, both coming out at the same time, and then making that first edition more geared towards collectors with unlimited for players?
Insider information tells me absolutely. And I don't mean to just naysay it. The problem with a model like that is that you're really incentivizing the larger stores to buy a lion's share of the unlimited, which they're then going to either sell right at map, or they're going to hang on to it once map is no longer a thing and be able to sell under map just to clearance it out, just to have the lion's share of the first edition boxes and kind of control the pricing on the market that way. When you handcuff something to an order quantity, the smaller stores, the stores that we may go to play our armory events at, are unable to compete because they're having to buy 4 boxes of unlimited to get 1 box of first edition, which then kind of drives them out of the market. And I think that really makes them either have to charge more for that box of first edition than what the bigger stores can, or they're just kind of handcuffed to it. I know them coming out at the same time would be possibly a better alternative, as far as, hey, we have 4 boxes of the unlimited and you get 1 special box. But again, that doesn't really do anything for that first edition box value, other than make the smaller stores have to charge more because they only got 1 or 2 of them, where the larger stores that are able to buy 20 cases and get 20 boxes of first edition, 5 cases of first edition, they have more to sell, they have more to go around, and they're not worried because they're going to sell the sealed product and the singles, or they're buying 20 unlimiteds to crack and sell singles, and then they're selling 5 cases of first edition at a premium price. So what I would like to see them do, if I may, is see them, I don't want to say mirror what WotC did, because I think WotC has kind of gone a little too far in the too many options, but I would like to see them have like a collector's edition and a standard edition. The standard edition is unlimited. The collector's edition is 1 print run. It is one and done, and they have a separate price structure. As far as the suggested MSRP from the manufacturer, they probably cost a little bit more through distribution, just because they are a limited print run, and you would have them both hit the street at the same time and not have them handcuffed one way or the other. Distribution would have allocation, which basically, if you ordered 100 boxes of first edition and 5 boxes of unlimited, you're not going to get that. That's the distributor being able to kind of control that, whereas you would have the ability to order them independently, and again, they're going to be a different price point at point of purchase from distribution, and thus having a higher MSRP or price tag associated with it. Putting them both out at the same time, and you've got the collector's edition that has maybe an additional rare slot in it, maybe an additional carnival slot, kind of like what we have with
Everfest.
Everfest. Yeah, with Everfest. That may be an avenue that they could take advantage of.
Sure, I could see that happening. Another thought that had crossed my mind is like Unlimited coming first. Obviously, not being called Unlimited in first edition, but like whatever the Unlimited variant is compared to what we have now, releasing first, and then like maybe a month wait, and then we get the special edition. Just kind of like swapping it around from what it is now. That lets people have all the time they need to get their special or their regular versions of things to be playing with, and then lets the collector still be focusing and zoned in on how important those things are for collector base.
I don't know that the collectors would care as much. I mean, again, they're going to be chasing the lottery tickets, the cold foils, things of that nature. But one of the driving factors to that is people buying it, opening it, and then selling it at what the market price is, and the collectors are buying those up and sitting on those because they know that they can invest the money in the cold foils, while the rest of us are just trying to get the money to be able to reinvest in the singles that we want. There's somebody out there that wants the extended art cold foil double-sided Bravo card, and they're going to spend high dollar on that because there's going to be limited of them.
Yeah.
And that money is then going to be put back into the game because the person that sold it, they wanted to be able to buy the legendaries that they needed, and they were able to get 2 or 3 of them for the same price as that one extended art double-sided cold foil hero.
Sure.
And
yeah,
I think that
it puts that circular market, and it's really good for players and collectors and stores, because then that puts money back into the stores as well. Yeah.
Right.
What is the number one thing that you are excited for going forward in Flesh and Blood?
That's tough.
Or a list.
Well, I'm excited for the new meta. I'm excited to see what Everfest does to the class constructed meta. It's wide open. I have so many ideas running around in my head. It's hard to grasp it. I make videos called the Fab Breakdown, and I thought, hey, with spoiler season coming out, it's going to be super easy. I'm going to grab 2 or 3 spoilers a day. I'll make a video or 2 about Flesh and Blood, and I'm just phoning it in. I made 0 videos during the preview season because my head started spinning because everything looked amazing. And I was like, I'm not an expert on any of this. There is no way at all that I can do this. I'm going to look like a phony. I'm going to look like a fraud. And I have to test it. I don't want to tell somebody this card's amazing and then find out, no, it just looked good on paper. Or this card looks horrible to find out, nope, it's actually the stone nuts, and it's what redefined the meta. And we saw that with Tales of Aria because everybody was high on Lexi, everybody was high on Oldham. Briar was kind of okay hero, and then Briar dominated Tales of Aria. And I have that feeling with all these heroes. I mean, I want to play every single one of these heroes now that got something good out of Everfest. And unfortunately, every hero in the game got something good out of Everfest.
Yep.
I KO. Who wants to play KO and Blitz? I do.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to explore. I have another thing that I would like to do here on the podcast. I have came up with some questions, and I just want to rapid fire them at you, and like as fast as you can, just say the answer that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
Sounds like a good time. Let's do it.
All right. So number 1, what is your favorite hero?
Dash.
Format.
Blitz.
Deck archetype of all time.
Aggro.
Tournament that you've attended.
Vegas. Calling.
Tournament that you're excited to attend.
Pro Tour number 1.
Content creator in Flesh and Blood that is not me.
And not me?
Yes.
Oh. Hometown TCG. Josh.
Sure.
Amazing human being.
What is the number 1 card that you're excited for the most from Everfest?
Pass. No. That's not fair. Because again, I can't wrap my head around all of them. That's not fair. Arcanite Skullcap. There we go.
Okay. All right. Sure. That's fair. What is your favorite new card that you're excited for from Everfest?
Oh, there's the linchpin. Fire breathing.
What is your favorite equipment that is not legendary?
Teklo plasma pistol.
What is your favorite non-weapon equipment that is non-legendary?
Snapdragon scalers.
Snapdragon scalers. All right, that is the end of those rapid fire questions. Now that we've
Not fair.
Now
Not
that we've
fair.
put you under the gun and we're back at it. Rick, I want to thank you so much for coming on. You are the very first guest on the Librarians of Solana podcast, and I really appreciate you making some time to come out here. You mentioned a couple times during the podcast that you make content of your own and that you're with BCW. So is there anything that you would like to plug?
Well, I do want to thank you for having me on this podcast. It is, like I said earlier, it is a dream true. I've always wanted to try my hand at doing podcast or being a guest on a podcast show, and you're a phenomenal host. And thank you very much for having me. I do make video content. You can find it on YouTube under the BCW YouTube channel. I put it there, not that I make it for BCW, I make it and BCW allows me to post it there. And it's called the Fab Breakdown, where I try to break down Flesh and Blood news, decks, events. And I also highly suggest people checking out bcwsupplies.com because I do work for them, but I absolutely love their product. I've got something big coming out as soon as I can get it in stock. There's been a question people have asked me a bunch of times of how to transport their legendaries and their cold foils and their heroes, and they want a special way to keep them all in the same box with a sleeved classic constructed deck. And I have the solution, I believe, and I'm excited to be able to share that, but I'm still waiting on it to come in.
I'm excited for that. I didn't even know that was a thing. This is me learning on my own podcast. What is this?
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm hoping to have that a short video on that coming out hopefully in March, but again, with all the things going on in the world of logistics right now, that could be April, May. It could be before the Pro Tour, hopefully. But I recommend people follow me on Twitter. I have been known to do some random giveaways on Twitter from time to time. I think the last one I gave away 4 sealed hero decks from WTR. So those were only printed at the time of alpha. And that was just a simple retweet to win. And somebody won all 4 of them and just for retweeting it and following me. So I do that kind of stuff. I've got more of those planned for later this year, and I'm excited to continue to help give back to the community that has given me so much. And those are my plugs. bcwsupplies.com, Fab Breakdown, and follow me on Twitter for wonderful giveaways.
Awesome.
Well, hey, T, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think there's somebody over at the counter waiting for you.
Oh, hey, sorry, I didn't see you there. Checking out? Awesome. That'll be due back next Thursday. I'll see you there.